Hey, great afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Monday episode of Conversations with Chosen Pen. This is Dr. Adista Short, serving as your host. Once again, Dr. Norma is not with us, but you know what? That's okay. The show must go on. I'm sure she is watching. She's wearing once again one of her many hats, and we're delighted that you've chosen to be with us again this Monday as we've dedicated the entire month of June as a salute to fathers. Yes, it's Father's Day was this past Sunday, as a matter of fact. But in the entire month of June, we're focusing on the importance of fathers. We're saluting fathers. We're talking about what it looks like to participate in what we call 21st century fatherhood. So before we go into detail about what that's all about, and I introduce you to our guests, I want to share with you some information that you may not want to miss. So let me just share. First of all, the 21st Century Fatherhood Experience that we're hosting, Chosen Pen is hosting, will be held virtually on the 29th. That's the last Saturday of this month. Connect with Chosen Pen on Facebook because we will be live within that platform. We've got a lineup of men talking about what 21st century fatherhood looks like. And we're going to place a little emphasis on how we, let's say, serve as father figures in our community, serve as mentors for the young men and women, young boys and girls who might be in a situation where their father is absent. You know, we oftentimes hear that it takes a village to raise a family. And so that's whether you have both family parents in the household. It still takes a village, but even the more if you have a single parent situation. So we want you to join us again. The 21st Century Fatherhood Experience will be held virtually. This is an intimate TEDx experience, and we're excited about having 4 or 5, maybe 6 men that are going to be gracing the stage, the virtual stage, and sharing insight, sharing personal stories, offering wisdom nuggets to those young men that might be coming behind them, speaking and using their voice to make a difference. And so we hope you choose to be there again. It's the last Saturday of this month. It'll be right here on Facebook. Follow us on Chosen Pen. It will begin at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So for more information, of course, you can go to our Facebook page and find more information there. Another big event that we have going that we are super excited about is one that involves our children this summer. We are partnering with the Brown Girl, Brown Boys Kids Book Tour. One of our esteemed colleagues, Dr. Pam, is actually the curator of this event. And what she does and has done for a while now is travel from city to city during the summer months to share the importance of literacy. That's what it's all about. And that's what Chosen Pen has embraced as well. The importance of literacy in our community. And by doing that and hosting this event, she creates a festival-like tour, a festival-like experience that will allow the children to learn more about books, get excited about books, hear people read books. The festival type experience would allow for them to maybe get their face painted, eat some popcorn, eat some cotton candy, get some Italian ice, all of the fun. It's going to be held right here in Fayetteville, 1420 Hope Loop Road on August 3rd. This event will begin at 12 noon. It will go until 4 p.m. For more information about this event, this is the Brown Girls. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can share, if I can get my computer to cooperate. I am going to share with you an image so you will see the flyer. You can register to attend. And you know what? Here's the beautiful thing about it. In registering to attend, parents, bring your children, bring your grandchildren. You don't have to pay. This event is absolutely free. If you're interested, however, in being a vendor, now that's a different story. That's a totally different story. We are looking for people to serve as vendors. If you have written a book for children, if you sell products that are geared towards children, if you offer services that are geared towards children, this is the event that you want to be a part of. The Brown Girl and Brown Boy Kids Red Carpet Tour and Literacy Festival. I told you it's a festival. August 3rd from 12 to 4 right here in the city of Fayetteville. You see the link here on your screen on how you can get your tickets to attend, you and or your children and grandchildren. Bring the neighborhood churches, bring your youth department. We want everybody out. And if you're wanting to be a vendor in any capacity, whether that be an author, someone that sells products or offers services for youth, you too can be a vendor at this event. Just contact us at chosenpen.com so we can get that information to you. All right, so that's our infomercials for today. We've got a fantastic guest, and he's no stranger with us. Nate has participated in podcasts with us in the past. He has also been one of our panelists on a previous TEDx on mentorship. I've had the privilege of working with him on a project first of the year. We talked about the importance of mentorship, the book we published, the Amazon bestseller that is. Titus 2 Principle. Nate, thank you so very much for joining us once again. How are you, my friend?
Oh, super good and getting better. I tell you, I mean, the pace, I'm just listening to all of the events and activities going on with Chosen Pen. And I mean, that's just fired. Huh? It got me going. I'm telling you, I just want to throw a couple more logs on the fire to keep it blazing.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us today and being a part of what we call our Salute to Fathers. I reached out to you specifically because I know you had a life-changing experience to happen not very long ago with regards to fatherhood. And so we're gonna come to that in just a second. But I know you also to be a dad. You
Yes.
are a father yourself. You're a coach. You've been an educator, bless your heart, for years. And you've worked with children and you've seen various dynamics when it comes to we work in ministry and working with youth. Tell us, Nate, tell us a little bit about what I just told everybody about you. Married, father. We skipped all that. I want to know what is fatherhood to you? What has that experience been like for you?
Man, it's really it's a process of integrity. That's what I can. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me because you really have to growing up and dealing with a lot of disappointments. My dad wasn't in my life, so coming from a single parent family and having to hear a lot of promises made, promises unkept. I'm gonna get you this. You got a bike coming on Christmas, and some come up, not your bike. Santa Claus, see, he ain't in the
Yeah,
neighborhood, and we had to get the chimney repaired, so he couldn't get down there and get nothing to you. And dealing with a lot of the excuses and disappointments, it fatherhood turned to me and for me to be integrity. Okay,
gotcha,
if I say it, I got to make it happen.
gotcha, gotcha.
So my boys they didn't get a lot of the disappointment that I got.
Right,
Mm,
right. You knew your word was bond. So
That's it.
because you had that experience, I could get that. Tell me
Yeah.
what if there, is there anything about fatherhood that you were not prepared for, or maybe if you said, "Oh man, if I had known this before I had these kids, I might would have done things a little differently, or I have evolved as a result." Is there any lesson learned other than what you've already shared? Because that integrity means the world. But is there
Yeah.
any other nugget that you might would let's say this, a lesson that you've learned as a result of being a father that you would extend to someone who's not yet a father who might be new at fatherhood?
Well, I would definitely say, you know, it it has to be so many things happen. I say teachable moments happen off script.
Gotcha.
So when things happen, it's lessons that you learn right in the moment. So you have to speak to those things,
Gotcha.
where when it happens. So those are some things, I don't know, like I'll give an example I'm just thinking of it now. Um, I had told them that I was going to take them to Subway. They was little fellas then, kind of looking like they was in my side picture that I have avatar. Um, and they were in the back seat arguing and fussing and going back and forth, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, stop. What? And so I said, now I'm I told y'all I was taking y'all to Subway because I know they like that.
Right.
But at this point, we in the parking lot of Subway. And I said, I'm not rewarding this negative behavior, all this arguing and dysfunction and disarray that's going on.
Right.
I said, so what's getting ready to happen? We getting ready to leave Subway, and we going back home because of your behavior, because I'm not rewarding that. And when we get back home, you're gonna get the famous dad PB&J sandwiches cut with the side slide slit down the side.
Right.
And and that was a moment, and we still have conversations around that, now that they're teenagers.
They were devastated.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. But it was a lesson learned.
Hmm.
So they will be more conscientious about their behavior, right?
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
understand that the standard is we don't reward bad behavior. And is,
Hmm.
and a subway experience or whatever the experience is a plus. It's not a necessity, right?
Right.
Because the the fact is I'm gonna feed you. You don't have to
Yeah.
have the subway. A peanut butter, listen, a peanut butter jelly sandwich does me wonders any day.
Yeah.
Listen, Nate.
Anyway, huh?
Anyway, just some grape jelly and some peanut butter. That's what I need right now. Okay,
Hmm.
I love it. So tell me something. You've worked in the educational arena. How long have you been in education now?
Oh wow. Over 30 years.
If you had to give me an estimate of how many children that are students at your school, or maybe just look at one classroom, how many of them would you believe are would you say are at a single parent home, absent of the father? If you had
Mm.
to give a guess,
Out of a class size of 30,
right?
I would say about 20.
So two
Yeah.
thirds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's probably
Yeah.
safe to say for the whole school, really.
Hmm.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
that was a lot different. I remember being in college, and of course I'm not 20 anyway, but anywho, I remember
Yeah.
being in college, and a guy I knew that was a friend of mine said to me, he says, have you thought about the fact that you're one of a few people on campus who have both parents in the home? It
Wow.
never registered with me because as a child growing up, when I grew up as elementary school through junior high, most of my neighbors had two parents. There
Hmm.
weren't very many. I mean, then I thought about it when I got to junior high. There were some friends of mine who just only had their mom, but at the same time, I knew just as many, I guess, that had both parents. But as
Uh-huh.
I got older, now by the time I'm in college, I'm looking at the fact that they are single parent homes now. Of course, even though my friends were adults like myself, many of them were reared in single family homes. So I don't believe it was two-thirds like it is
Mhm.
now. But when you
Yeah.
think about the dynamic of that absent piece, and you can speak to it because you made reference to the fact of not having your father in your home,
Hmm.
what does that feel like? What does that look like? Or what type of symptoms do we see from that?
Well, you see a lot of clinginess to male figures. I grew up in the neighborhood. I think we may have been 80%, uh, without the dads in the family. Matter of fact, it might have been more closer to 90. But
Right,
we did have a friend, but we were that village, so we
right,
all knew each other and everybody, and Mr. Bird, he was the neighborhood dad, so
okay,
he would see you, and come on over here. Let me show you something, boy. Show you how to fish. This how you put your worm on the hook. This
mm-hmm,
is what you doing, and he hunted, and he would have little get together sometime and invite the kids over. Try this venison. You ever had deer meat, boy? Try this. And so it was like he was the neighborhood dad who took a lot of us in and taught us a lot of different things. And he worked construction, and
mm-hmm.
so he fished, the hunter, like I said. He just had a wealth of knowledge, and then we just we all gravitated to
Gravitated to him. And you see that in the
him.
school systems. I guess would it be safe to say that with those young men or young girls who don't have a
Hmm.
father figure, if the teacher shows interest, they tend to gravitate to him or her,
Yeah, you
because
see
they're
that
because
quite
they're
a bit.
missing something, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. But
right.
you on rare occasions now you get those ones that tell you quick, fast, in a hurry, you are not my daddy. Okay, so that's when I had that happen about 2 weeks ago. Before school was getting out. And I had to tell the little girl, I said, you better be glad.
Yeah. It's just as important to have a father in the home as it is to have a mother. And I
Absolutely.
was reared, blessed and fortunate to have both parents in my home my entire life. My parents are still married. So I
Hmm.
understand. I know what it's like to have a parent. Now, as I've gotten older and more mature, I
Hmm.
see when I meet friends and they say, well, I don't think I missed anything. And I'm like, you really did. You just don't know it. You really did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not to negate their feelings or to make them feel bad, but I know what it's like to have both parents in the home. Let's
Hmm.
shift gears here because one of the things I love about your story, Nate, and we just became you shared the experience with us when we were
Hmm.
together back in, was it January, right?
Uh-huh.
January.
Yeah.
And to set the stage, we were had just finished a book project. We had the launch of the book, and we had a TEDx experience in January because January was National Mentorship Month. And Nate was one of the people that participated because, of course, he's a co-author, and then he had an opportunity to be on a TEDx experience. And Nate and my husband have been friends for years, right?
Mhm.
So he was a
Absolutely.
guest in our home, and it was during your time here, just before you left, that you shared a story with us. If you would, you can give us the Cliff Note version, but tell us
Yeah.
what that message was.
Oh man, it was for starters, I tried out ancestry.com and did the DNA test, sent it out, and shortly prior to that, I had my only brother that I knew had passed away. So it was a difficult time for me. And I found out that through the DNA testing, somebody reached out to me, direct messaged me and said, I'm your brother. And my first thought was like, man, get out of here. These scammers are thick in the public,
Right.
and I mean, it's caused me to shut down. I didn't respond. And at least for a couple of days. And I called my sister that I, grew up with my mom. I said, I say I'm his brother and this and that. And I don't know what to say. She's, sisters, put me on the phone. I know what to say.
We know what to
You know,
say.
yeah. And so in the midst of that, we got, I called him and we got on the phone talking, sent me some pictures, and I was just like, oh my God. It just mind blowing. The family, the resemblance, and
Yeah.
I just said, wow. And what the blessed part was, my dad was still alive, is still alive,
Wow.
at 81. And so I just was like, wow, talking to him and seeing how like our personalities are. And I said, I had to jump on the first thing, smoking, they say, out to on the airplane and go see him in South Carolina and stay with him for a couple of days and just really, I said, now look, you got a lot to make up, a lot of ground to cover,
Right,
after
right,
50,
right, right.
after 53 years, brother, you
Yeah,
you got a lot
okay.
of catching
So
up to
your
do.
now your dad is in 81 and living in South Carolina. Now, for a point
Mhm.
of reference, let the audience know where you've lived all your life for the most part.
I lived in Michigan all my life.
So you've been in the state
Mhm.
of Michigan. Your
Metro
father that
Detroit.
you find out is your father, that he's still alive. He's in South Carolina. You find
Mhm.
out you have brothers and sisters. I'm taking it right, brothers and
Yes,
sisters.
I'm one of 11 siblings.
Oh wow! Now,
Yeah.
you're older than all your siblings that you met? I'm taking it, or y'all?
No,
Okay.
no.
Oh my
I
God.
was blown away. I'm like, I had a brother that's 60. I'm 53. I don't have a list in front of me. I was taking notes
Uh
though,
huh. So, are
but
the other siblings? Are they all in South Carolina as well? Most of them.
they're all over
Okay,
Georgia,
gotcha.
uh, Virginia. I got a sister, she's in South Carolina. I got another older sister who's in New Jersey. I got a brother who's in New Jersey, but by way of New York. So I went to
Okay.
see him, took a day trip, and I mean, he just took me all over New York, showing me the five boroughs and where they grew up
Oh
at, and
wow.
Jam Master Jay's mural, and it was an experience. I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Well, I can say this. I remember when you got word and you were talking about it, and I was like, Man, what does that feel like? Because you mentioned earlier, even in your earlier in this conversation, is that you were raised without your dad, and then
Yeah.
there were promises that were made and that never were kept. And I'm pretty sure you
Mm.
had a certain disposition about who he was, or
Yeah.
what your life was like about him. So now fast forward, you're in your 50s and you
Mhm.
see him and you can
Yeah.
touch him and talk with him and sit and have break bread with him. What was
Mhm.
it like, Nate? I mean, what kind of emotions? I don't, I know it was what, tell us what that was like.
I mean, it was just amazing because the man that I know as my dad was not the man that my mom told me was my dad. And I never met him either. So, this was made for TV,
Oh
drama,
my God, we could
movie,
write a script. Is this a
book,
Lifetime
yeah,
movie?
Lifetime. So I never got to meet that man. And to find out who my dad really was and who he really is was just amazing to me.
Okay,
And
so
it,
wait, Nate, wait
yeah,
a minute. So the man that you grew up thinking was your father, the one that made the promises and didn't keep the promises, is not the man you met in South Carolina.
no,
Oh my
no.
gosh. Oh my
So
gosh,
like
Nate.
like Color Purple, Pa, not Pa. You know.
Oh my goodness. So
So yeah,
the man that was a source of some of the disappointment, and the one that you figured operated with
no,
lack of
I had no connection with him. The man they said they called him Willie. That's all I
uh-huh.
know. Willie was the man. I had no connection. I heard he was abusive to my mom, so my
Okay.
grandmother shielded me. She
I gotcha.
kept that
Okay.
out, because
Okay.
who knows, I
Yeah, I
probably if
know.
I
No,
would
no. Yeah,
have
you would have
around
been
that, it would have been, I probably would have been trying to hit on some
you
lady,
would probably caught a case yourself. Right.
right,
Okay, so you grow up
hmm
and you're told that Willie
hmm
is your daddy,
right,
but you don't have any interaction with him. Your grandmother
no,
shielded you from him. So all of your
hmm
life, Willie, the man who
hmm
didn't keep his word to you, the man you never had any intimate contact with,
hmm
is who you think is your father. So you go
yeah,
on through life. You've set your own life goals and your own parental dynamics on what you know to be what you don't want to be. You don't want to be
right,
Willie, right?
yeah,
That's because that's your point of reference. You
yeah,
definitely knew if you're gonna be a
can't go out
daddy,
like that.
now you really would not be the model that you're gonna go by. So
No,
now you're going on
absolutely,
with your family,
yeah,
doing the best you can with a
hmm
level of integrity, with faith in God, you loving your
yeah,
wife, you're serving in the
yeah,
community, and then bam, you find out that Willie is not even your daddy.
no, Melvin, and like
Oh
he
my,
told me, I'm him.
oh wow. So I don't even know how to ask this question. I don't even know. So you're excited and you
Yeah,
get there and Melvin is not Willie, right?
right.
So I don't know if you want to share the story, but how did y'all get disconnected? Do you know even how that happened?
Well, my mom was in New York for a summer. And
Okay.
as my dad, I'll quote him as he told me, we were wild back then.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, you know, he knew of me, but I knew not of him.
Gotcha. So he knew,
So she
okay.
called and told him that he had a son here in Michigan. So it's not the age of Facebook.
No, I
Uh,
get it. I
yeah,
totally get it. I
it's
totally get
like
it.
you said, I lost track of her,
Uh-huh.
and the people who she was staying with, they had moved. He was like,
Gotcha.
I couldn't find you, son. You know?
Wow.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
moved on with his life.
yeah,
Your mom moved on. Your mom had you thinking Willie Earl, I'm gonna give him a middle name.
yeah.
That
There
Willie
you go.
Earl was your daddy when really it was
Uh-huh,
Melvin and the blue
uh-huh.
notes. Yeah,
Right there you go. Come on now.
I got you. So you I know you left our home in January, and it wasn't long
Mhm,
after that you went. So since that time, you've met your father, you met other brothers and sisters, you've
uh-huh.
flown to other states to meet other siblings that weren't in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Nate, that is awesome. I'm so
I
excited for
mean,
you.
yeah. And we got a family reunion coming up in January. So I get to get down there. I'm having my notepad, my pen, and
So you're going to meet even more family. You're going to meet cousins
Yeah,
and things and that. So
yeah.
now your father, your biological father, was in New York at the time. Was he just there visiting, or he lived there at the moment and then he
He
came back?
lived there at
Okay.
the moment. He
So
was
he
there.
migrated back south probably at some point in time in life because he
Yeah,
probably has family in South Carolina, no doubt.
yeah. That's where it all started at. In South Carolina.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
now you got a fresh start
yeah,
in your
yeah.
50s. You can now introduce your children to their
To their
real grandfather,
granddaddy. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah.
have additional uncles and aunts and extended family. How are they? I know with all of this going on, you've had this conversation with not only your wife but your sons. How have they responded?
They have responded extremely well. I think initially I kind of felt a little tension in the body language and different
Yeah,
things that I picked up on, because I was excited,
yeah,
but I had to reassure my immediate family,
right,
like, I fight for you,
right.
you know. So nothing is, I take care of this.
Yeah, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
to reassure that,
I know I get it because
yeah,
on the surface it's like, okay, Daddy got a text message from somebody saying, "Hey, I'm your brother," and he just
right,
done went on this wild tangent, But
right.
when
He
you
done
know,
dove in.
when it's something about when even though
Hmm.
you had adequate proof. You remind me of Alfonso. I know Al, you and Al had talked. We
Yeah.
found out he has a brother
Uh-huh.
12 years younger than him, right? And
Yeah.
so we went to go and meet him. Their biological father is deceased. He's been deceased longer than I've been married to Alfonso. So that's been probably
Okay.
30 years. So,
Hmm.
and this young man never met his dad. Alfonso was around his father some, even
Hmm.
though they weren't raised, neither one of them were raised by their dad,
Yeah.
but he had no point of reference for who his father was. Alfonso had. So when we went to go meet him for the first time, and I said, Al, you sure you think this is your brother? He said, I know it's my brother. And I'm like, how do you know? He said, because he looks just like my father.
Hmm.
Alfonso looks nothing like his dad. He looks like his
Yeah.
mother, but his brother looks just like his. And so when they talked, he says, I know you're my brother because you look just like our dad. So
Yeah.
you could, and then ever since then, it's been like they've been knowing each other forever, because when
Yeah.
when
Know.
you know. You
Yeah.
still may have questions to come up. So we're supposed to do a family reunion of some sort too in July.
Hmm.
But so let's talk about the young men who
Hmm.
may not know who their father is, or the young men who have been separated from their dad for whatever reason. I know everybody's situation is not the same, so I'm not here to say that every circumstance is not the same
Yeah.
or is the same. I want to be respectful of everyone's experience. However, I
Hmm.
do believe that when you don't have a connection with that other parent, there's a void there in some capacity,
Hmm.
whether you realize it or not. If you were to extend some advice or to offer words of wisdom to someone with regards to connecting with that dad,
Hmm.
what would you say?
Connecting with that dad. Don't believe the inner lie that will tell you, like if I was told, you can't miss nothing if you never had it. Is it possible to miss something that you never had? I would say yes, it is, because you put yourself through these different things and you think these different thoughts and you're like, man, what was it? What happened? Why did they want me? Did they not want me?
Yeah.
So you go through all of that, but finding out helps to bring closure to
Hmm.
situations.
Hmm.
Sometimes you may connect with that person that may, and you may not. It's
Right.
just, but at
Right.
least you can know and bring make
Closure.
some sense of what happens in that
Yeah.
situation.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
I remember my husband saying that, he was raised by his grandparents. His mom had them to help her with raising him. And while he knew who his father was and saw him occasionally, he was never an active participant. However, as he got older, he had an opportunity to be around him more, to spend time with him, to be in
Hmm.
his space and in his home. And he
Yeah.
said, my mother never spoke negatively of my father, but it did not take me long before I realized why she couldn't be married to him.
Mm-hmm.
I understood why she couldn't be married to him. That's one thing he said. And then he also said is that being in his space and watching his mannerisms and his interactions and things of that nature helped me better understand my proclivities and my personality. Because it didn't come, some things didn't come from my mom. It came from my dad, and I saw what those were. You know what I mean? Would you
Yeah.
agree with that? When you were in your father's space, you could kind of see some things that you all had in common?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could see how my mom fell for him.
Yeah.
You know, brother, brother got game. You know, I told him, I said, I see you got the gift of gab. He said, where you think you get it from?
Uh-huh. So you see yourself better. You understand yourself better.
Yeah. And it was amazing too, because when my brother reached out to me, he was like, when I saw you, he said he had been following me on Facebook.
Oh,
He
wow.
said, but you look just like our father, you
Wow.
know, and it was just like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I could definitely, and you see the traits, characteristics,
Mhm.
you know. I mean, my dad, entrepreneurial, just going for it. He
Right.
was FedEx and UPS before they were, you know, that was in the 70s, you know.
Gotcha.
He
So
delivery package.
he did the doggone thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's a beautiful thing. Well, I was excited for you when you mentioned it at our home, and I was
yeah,
like, and to hear how the things have evolved since then, it makes it even better to know you're
yeah,
doing your family reunion and you got a chance to not only meet him and other siblings, but travel to meet other siblings that were not there.
yeah.
That's a blessing, really. It really is.
It is. It is.
And your receptiveness of all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Because you could have thought a different thought. You know what I
yeah.
mean? You could have adopted a different attitude. And in doing that, maybe not, maybe justified, but
Hmm.
because you were embraced the possibility of all of this, you have gained so much more richness,
Yeah,
I would say, to your life. Would you agree with that?
absolutely. And something that I would say to anybody who's in that position or in that place is when you know what you don't want and you experience the negativity of being alone, growing up without a dad, and you can put into place the this is how I want to be. I don't want to be like this.
Right.
Then what I did, my goddad is 87, and I introduced him to my dad. But
Okay.
I told him, and in the introduction, I said, this is the man who's been filling in for you all these years. You know, because I looked at him, you know, I was a friend of my friend's dad, but we used to
Okay.
hang out. And you know, you like, man, he got his house built, he taking care of his family, married, you know, respectable in the community. I
Yeah.
want to be like him, you know.
Yeah. Right, right,
So
right.
you pattern yourself, you know. So
Yeah.
find somebody who you can pattern yourself
That's a
after.
good thing, Nate. You're saying you're
Yeah.
speaking a mouthful because we made reference to it takes a village, and
Hmm.
so you don't have the biological dad there, but there's some people in your space that you could. I pray that
Hmm.
they have people in their community. Neighborhoods are not quite like they used to
Yeah.
be. We don't look out
Yeah.
for each other as much as we used to, and it may take some searching, but there's
Hmm.
somebody there. And I think that's another reason why I can so appreciate men like yourself and my husband and many others who,
Hmm.
even though they may have their own families, they serve in the community to be upstanding, righteous examples to young
Yeah.
men. So they'll never be able to say there was no one in my circle that fit this mold.
Right.
They reach
Yeah.
out, they mentor, they do what they can within the space that they're allotted to make a difference and to make an impact. And so I
Oh
believe
yeah.
all the seeds that you've planted in the lives of other young men as an educator and in ministry and things of that nature
Yeah.
was brought about the harvest that you were able to now enjoy in
Yeah.
meeting your dad and your brothers and sisters and things of that nature. Nate, you have a book. I don't want to not talk about your book because you wrote one to address bullying in the classroom, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, and just relationships
Okay.
building. But and in that book, that's just it. And you finding your purpose within it as a student, working with other educators and building the family connection with, characters, creativeness, and just being able to realize when you find your gift and your talent and your
Mhm.
purpose and you go after it, it opens so many other doors and
Mhm.
windows and garage doors. So many things open up
Mhm.
because you are following and doing what God has blessed
What you are
and gifted
wired to
you with.
do.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If they
yeah.
wanted a copy of your book, Nate, should they contact you or connect with you on chosen on your Facebook, or how would they need to reach out to you to get a copy of the book?
Yeah, they can reach out to me on Facebook,
Okay.
on Nate Whitsett, and then we have our YouTube channel, Coach Nate Whitsett. And they can reach out and find me there, and we'll connect from there. But I'm restructuring all of my marketing and all of that. So, we in a
Nate, is it Whittsett?
WHITSETT,
I got
Nate
it.
Whitsett. Yeah.
And that's your on YouTube, your coach Nate, your coach
Yeah.
Whitsett.
Coach Nate Whitsett. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I'm putting it on here. So to connect with Nate, to learn more about the work that he does in the community, to get a copy of the book,
Hmm.
um, just to meet him in general, I guess you could say. Just to
Yeah.
meet him in general. Find him on YouTube, Nate Whitsett. He's already given it Nate
Yeah.
Whitsett, WHIT. I thought I typed it up here. And then on YouTube, Coach.
WHITSETT.
Let me
Yeah.
see if I can
And that's
copy this.
on
I'm gonna put
YouTube.
this on here. I appreciate you saying yes that to this interview. I am so thankful that you were able to be a part of this salute to fatherhood, because you brought a different perspective, my friend. You are a beautiful example, a blessed example of what it's like to take lemon and make lemonades, right?
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
and and that's what you did when Willie Earl didn't show up like he should have.
Well, did not
And you
show
not
up.
only are you doing the thing for your own boys, but you're reaching out to other children through your platform of
Mm.
education. And then as a result of you just doing what you do and minding your own business, your real daddy showed up and your extended family. So
So,
I'm happy for you. Your real
and
father showed up.
and in that mentorship and in that place, in that space, I know me and your husband, we talk about it all the time. We don't know if we planting, we don't know if we watering, but we
Mm-hmm.
know God gives the increase. So
Mm-hmm.
that work is viable, it's real, and
Right.
it's important.
Right, right, right.
Mhm.
All right. Well, my friend, I appreciate you. Thank you again for hanging out with me in this space. Once again, telling your story, sharing a snippet of. I cannot wait to see what your family reunion pictures look like. I'm sure
Oh
you'll
my
talk to
God.
my husband and get all of the information. But this month has been all about saluting fathers. And so I
Mhm.
salute you, my friend. Thank you for all that you bring to the table, and also giving us a glimpse of what 21st century fatherhood can look like, and how even this, despite the absence, it turned it worked out for your good, and you're excited
Yeah.
about it. And so we're excited for you as well. So with that
Well,
being
thank
said, I
you
want to
so
thank
much.
everyone for joining us again. Don't forget, join us every night, Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be right here in the same space, same time. We're going to be talking with more personalities on next Monday about what fatherhood looks like, 21st century fatherhood. I hope you choose to be a part of it. And don't forget, like, comment, and share. We depend on you to do that, because we are looking to grow this community. We're looking to grow more and more in 2024. Have a great day, everybody.
Mhm.
Have a great Monday.